Of equipment is our Skidsteer. We currently only have one in our inventory. It has tracks versus the wheels, so it can go over terrains a little bit easier. This thing does have a high speed or a high flow hydraulic pump, so it will be able to push your hydraulic equipment a little bit faster than your standard Bobcat or your standard skid steer. All right, so the maintenance that you want to do on this skid steer every time before you get in it, every day, not just whenever you are back at the shop, but every day you want to make sure you check it just to make sure the oil is good, the air filter is good, everything's in functioning condition, you don't have any leaks, things of that nature. We then will go over the maintenance items that need to be taken care of on a periodic basis, basically every time you bring it back, with lubing the joints and the bearings and all that stuff, so this thing stays functional and easier to use, and you don't have problems and breakdowns out in the actual field. So first thing we're gonna do, you're gonna open this panel. There's a latch on here. This is the same panel that you're gonna open up if you're gonna fuel this piece of equipment too. The fuel intake is right here. Now Cat has an interesting handle or a cap. Basically you gotta pull this up and you're gonna twist this like that, and it just comes straight out. You don't have to twist the cap, you don't have to twist anything, and then you just put it straight back on the other way, twist the black part, and then it snaps in, versus twisting the entire thing. Now, some of your components that you wanna make sure you take a look at while you're with your skid steer is gonna be your coolant. So you wanna make sure your coolant level is gonna be in between your hot and cold, which this one is, but it could probably use a little bit more, but we're still within that good zone. The next thing you want to check is your oil. It is right here is your dipstick. This is your pour section for your oil if you need to add oil. Just make sure if you do need oil, to reach out to the maintenance department, because it does take a special kind of fuel or oil, and not necessarily just a straight oil that you would use in your car or your vehicle. All right, so first thing you want to do, get a rag, pull it out, clean it off, and right back in it goes, and then back out. So you can see the oil level is good on this. It's a little dirty, it probably needs to be cleaned, but the oil level is good at this point with it. All right, the next thing that you're going to want to check is the air filter. Now, this isn't something that you need to check every day, but if you're getting sluggish with your engine and things like that, or you're seeing it overheat, it may not be getting enough air. So the air filter is right here, and it's a 2-port filter. So it has an external filter and an internal filter, and you'll see that here. So these 2 clips pops it off, and there's your filter. This is your external, so you can give it a slight twist, it'll come out, and then you'll see your internal filter. Both of them are relatively clean, but if this was really caked dirty, you can take an air hose, blow it out, and then put it right back. You should never really have any problems with your internal filter, because everything's getting caught by your external filter first. So to put this back in there, you're just going to put it back, give it a slight twist, make sure it's seated all the way in there. Take your cap and make sure she's seated on there as well, and then re-clip your hinges. Now that's the basic stuff that you need to check on a daily basis with this piece of machinery. The other thing you may want to check too is any leaks. A lot of the leaks will actually leak out below into the pan, because it all goes to the center of the underside of the motor, and it will actually leak out the bottom. So if you see any leaks, we need to figure out where it's coming from, and obviously fix that as soon as possible. The other thing that you can also do is, if you're noticing, like I said, your equipment overheating, your radiator may be getting clogged up with dirt, dust, debris, that type of thing, This can actually be sprayed out with water. So we can spray this out, cool it on your motor, and you're good to go from there too. You also have a radiator up top here that has a fan. You can also clean this out as well through this section too. And that is it on the maintenance for this thing, for your typical maintenance. All right, so this unit also uses all the attachments that Bobcats and stuff other skid steers use as well. What's really nice with the skid steer industry is everything's almost 100% universal. So these forks will fit on a Bobcat, they'll fit on anything. We actually have a set of forks, we have a bucket, and then we also have a couple drive head apparatuses for installing helical anchors that you can hook up to this as well. But this thing you can use anything from jackhammers attachments to backhoe attachments to you almost name it, they have it. So, but the most common ones you're going to use at our place is the fork attachments, bucket, and the drive head assembly attachments. All right, getting in this thing, first thing you want to kind of notice is you've got a couple control handles and you have a door. So some skid steers do have a door, others do not. This one does, kind of wish it didn't, but the door actually plays a pretty vital role where it has to be closed for this machine to function and for your bucket to go up and down and everything else to be usable. So we're going to jump on in and we'll go ahead and get this thing started. Now, one thing with these doors is they're pretty tricky or hard to close. So you can't really be too nice to it. You just got to put a little elbow grease into it and just give her a good tug and she'll close for you. But just go like this and we're good to go. All right, now that we're in the machine, the first thing that we're going to do is put our armrests down. Now these armrests will also allow you to turn the engine on, and they can also be adjustable. Just like the seat can be adjustable, there's a button down at the bottom that you can twist, move the seat back and forth wherever you need to make sure you're comfortable with everything. We will go ahead and turn it on. Key is here. First thing you're going to do is turn it on and let it reset itself. You'll see flashing lights here. Everything kind of go through a startup cycle, and then when you see your fuel tank gauge pop back up, it's ready to go. From there, we're just going to turn the key and we are up and running. All right, so one thing that you're going to see with this machine as soon as you start it up is there's going to be a letter P up here on the control board. This is your park brake signal up here. To clear that, you actually have a park button on your left hand side. So you're going to push that and it eliminates all your parking. So now everything in the machine is going to be functional once that goes off. And you can turn that back on if you need to. Let's say you're parked on a hill, whatever it is, or you need to get out. You can hit that and it will re-engage itself as well. But we'll go ahead and release it. And now everything is functional in this machine. So the first thing that you see, we have a couple of handles here. These handles are actually going to be able to control your bucket as well as your motion. It's almost like a pilot or a aircraft kind of controls is what they switched to from the foot controls from back in the day. So to move your bucket, you're actually going to pull this handle back and it will raise it. And if you want to lower it, we're just going to go straight down. Now your handles basically control each side of the machine. So if you want to go left, you're going to turn your machine left. And if you want to go right, you're going to turn your machine right. So we're going right, and then we're going to go left. Now if we had a skid steer or a drive head attachment on here, we'd be able to use the hydraulics on it. Or if you had a breaker or something of that nature that uses hydraulics, you're then able to turn the hydraulics on. And the way to do that is there's actually a little dial here for your thumb that will engage the hydraulics. Since we currently don't have anything attached to it, I really don't want to put it on because it'll just build up back pressure and everything else on the machine. The other option or things that we have on this machine is you have your throttle control up here, but you also have a foot pedal throttle down here that you can control. So you can hit it here, or you can turn it up here and it keeps it at that idle for whatever reason you want. Typically I use the foot pedal just because with what we do, you're going to be more functional with the foot pedal versus having it just burn through gas and burn up your motor during your pile installations. This unit also has an automatic release for like your attachments. So to use that function, you first are going to put your attachment all the way down and loose, and there's a button up here that has a red button. It's your first one on your right hand side up top. You're going to push that red thing up and you'll hear it back it out, and we should be free. And then to go ahead and reset your attachment, you don't need to hit the red button to release it. You're just going to push up on that same button and it'll lock everything into place. The minute you hear it click, all you're going to do is don't let it continue to hold that down, because all you're doing is stripping out teeth on the gears itself. You are tight, you're good to go. Your attachment won't fall off. We are done using the machine. We're going to turn it off and go ahead and get on out. But just one problem with this machine, with having a door on it, you can see like this, your front attachment and your arms have to be all the way down to get out. Otherwise, you are stuck in here. So the door, your arms can either be all the way up or all the way down to be able to get out with the door. So we're gonna go all the way down, and now we'll be able to get out easy with not having anything hit or trap us in here. Turn the machine on, armrest up, open your door, and we are now able to get out.